You know that DelmarvaLife is all about community, and that's your community too.
Is there something going on in your neighborhood? We'd love to hear about it and see your photos from the event. Send the information our way along with any pictures you'd like to share.
You can reach us at comments@delmarvalife.com or just like us on Facebook and share the information there.
And wherever you go in this town, when it's fight week, they're only talking about one thing: Fernando Guerrero.
Who could forget that night? February 6th, 2009, thousands of hometown fans out to cheer Salisbury boxer Fernando Guerrero, and a bout that was broadcast on ESPN's Friday Night Fights. A big night for Salisbury, a big night for Guerrero, and a big night for Guerrero's trainer, Hal Chernoff.
Yeah, for more than 2 decades, Chernoff has been training boxers, young and old, at his Main Street gym in Salisbury. But Hal is teaching them more than uppercuts and how to bob and weave. He's preparing them for the main event, life. As owner of Main Street Gym in Salisbury, Hal Chernoff has coached some champions in his time here. But what he brings to the ring is not years of championship boxing, it's a love of the sport.
I grew up with boxing.
How were you as a kid with boxing?
How was I as a boxer?
As a boxer.
I wasn't that good because we had no instruction. In fact, what we did was called sandlot boxing, where we had an old bowling alley that some friends of mine, their dad owned. And when they closed it down, we'd all get in there with about 30 kids, and we had one pair of gloves, no headgear, no mouthpiece. You'd put the gloves on and you would just wail away. And
his coaching began when he moved to Salisbury as an adult.
they started coming to my home, where I had a big machine shed and a gym set up, and I was teaching guys how to use their hands there. And that's how the whole coaching thing started, just by helping some guys that wanted to learn to use their hands.
Hal would eventually open Main Street Gym. What is it about boxing?
It's so real. It's just, you know, it's not a team sport. And I've never really been a team sport guy. To this day, I don't watch the basketball playoff. I don't watch the Stanley Cup. I'll watch the Super Bowl if somebody's having it on and invites me over, but team sports just don't do it for me. I've always been that kind of person that likes it when all the pressure is on just you, and it's just you having to do it. Well, in a boxing match, there are 2 people, but it's one-on-one.
And through the years, kids of all ages have come here to not only get a lesson in boxing, but lessons in life.
Triple. 1, 2. There's that element of the sport which is rough. And there's, you know, from the outside, you're thinking, get to fight in boxing. You know, nobody's going to yell at you for fighting in this ring. So these kids come in that they're having problems with in school. I get referrals by teachers, principals, police officers. We got this kid, we can't do anything with him. We'll bring him to you. He wants to fight, he can fight. So then he comes here thinking, okay, now I can fight. But the first thing he finds out is he really can't fight because he doesn't know how. So the very first thing that has to happen is, if he really wants to fight, he has to cooperate. That's the beginning. He's got to listen, then from the listening he's got to trust, and then it all starts. And then when he starts seeing things happen, it's like anything else.
And wherever you go in this town, when it's fight week, they're only talking about one thing.
One of those kids was Fernando Guerrero. In 2009, he won his first professional title in front of 5,000 hometown fans, proving he had what it takes.
Fernando was on a trajectory that was just not like nothing else that ever came out of this area. He was doing great, and we were making it happen, and he got a little off path because there was people talking to him, and I guess he just believed that in order to really make it to the next level or to be a world champion, you have to have a big name trainer or something, which is not the case.
Guerrero hasn't boxed professionally in a little more than a year.
Breathe when you hit that box. Come on.
But back at the Main Street Gym, the quest for excellence continues. But Hal says he's not seeing the fire he once saw when he started coaching kids.
Sometimes I just have to shake my head. It's like the kids are not as motivated. They'll come here, they'll work out, but it's hard to find kids that have that solid work ethic. You're just not seeing it.
Hal says these days kids have too many choices, and boxing isn't as prominent as it was 2 and 3 decades ago.
There was boxing, there was baseball, football wasn't as big, but it was there. What else was there? So I mean, that was the big entertainment. Boxing was huge, and you know, you knew you were going to see 2 guys that we're going to put it all on the line back then.
Hal adds boxing these days is less about the fight and more about the money, citing a recent fight between Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao.
If you look at Mayweather right now, it seems like being undefeated is the most important thing for him, even if it means fighting for $200 million and making what appears to be the most boring of fights. You know, that was the mega fight of mega fights. Paid 4 times more than Mike Tyson got for his biggest payday, and the next day nobody was talking about that fight unless they said something like, what a boring fight.
Keep the head moving, I like it. Good.
Chernoff's not giving up on finding the next championship boxer. He says he still sees a few young men and women with the skills and the hunger. In the meantime, his focus is on the kids who come here who need a little push in the right direction in the ring and out in the world. What's it like to see that transformation?
That's a ball. That's fun. I mean, my biggest satisfactions in life are not any of the tournaments that we've won, national, regionals, none of it. It's really not anything we've done in boxing. It's a kid that comes back to you and says, I got a full-time job, I'm making good money, I'm married with 2 kids, and I wouldn't have done any of that if it wasn't for your help. That's winning right there. And I've got a lot of those stories.
Great guy. Now, Fernando Guerrero is a younger brother of Alex Guerrero. Alex still trains under Chernoff at the Main Street Gym. In fact, Chernoff says Alex is a champion in the cruiserweight division of the NABA. So look for good things coming from Alex.
Great guy.
Yeah.
And great story.
Thank you.
Thank you for that very much. Well, we're looking for great things to come out of the DelmarvaLife kitchen today. Coming up next, Lisa and I learn how to make a crab bruschetta, the perfect appetizer for any occasion, really. But first, while we're talking about food, Dr. Oz has more on what we should eat to really boost the health of our bones.
Hi, I'm Dr. Oz. Make no bones about it, the human skeleton is remarkable. Now here's how to keep it strong. Get bone-building calcium from foods instead of supplements. It's not just in milk. Foods like kale, tahini, and figs are also good sources. And jump to it. High-impact exercise that put force on your bones actually helps to strengthen them.